Champions like Holly Holm come along once in a lifetime. Like the warriors of old, we bear testament to the birth of new legends. In the old sagas, the Vikings spoke of a land where giants dwelled. One could cross over into this legendary land through feats of extreme strength, of extreme skill, feats of heroism. Champions teach us that through blood, sweat, and tears, we can transform from men into something more. As the great Mike Tyson once said, without struggle, there is no progress. There has to be struggle in your life. You have to grow and experience to control your ego. Because an ego can be crushed, it can be killed, it can be smashed, but it comes back. It never dies. That's the thing about the ego. It never dies. To quote John Keats, "Do you not see how necessary a world of pains and troubles is to school an intelligence and to make it a soul?" Through struggle and perseverance, we can forge our souls in the metal of combat. We can shape our minds in the maelstrom of chaos. While preparing for the bantamweight title fight against the reigning champion Ronda Rousey, Holly Holm was called a sacrificial lamb. Many oddsmakers predicted a first-round finish and said that Holly didn't belong in the octagon with the champion. An article written by Deadspin described Holly as a washed-up boxer who wouldn't weather the storm Ronda brought. Holly used this doubt to add fuel to her fire. She trained longer, she sparred harder, and she ran farther. After the wild storm in the Nevada desert had settled, and Holly's hand was raised in victory, she brought the belt back to her hometown of Albuquerque, New Mexico, permanently cementing her legacy as the greatest combat sports star the Southwest had ever seen. Although the bitter rivalry ended in a vicious knockout, Holly knelt by her defeated opponent and consoled the devastated former champion. A fitting action for a woman known only as the preacher's daughter.
Oh, I hear you.
Oh,
this is great news.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
You just fixed it. Can you hear yourself? Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Yeah,
Yep.
I can hear you.
There we
Oh
go.
my God, this is magical. Yes. Hello. All right. That's beautiful. All right. Now. Hello. Oh.
Oh, here we are.
And we're back. Okay. Put this guy on. You just fixed it. Look
Oh,
at you.
just like that.
You just fixed
I'm like,
it.
hey, if you need me to do anything, and then boom.
Oh my God. Is this okay? Is this just the magic that you're imbued with, or what?
Hey, I'll own it.
Give me a high five. That was
I'll
awesome.
high-five that.
Oh my God. She's like, let me help. If I can help you set up the camera equipment, let me know. And the second she says it, it's like your voice cured
It was
the microphone. That was amazing.
Maybe it was something around here. You know, they say this place is haunted sometimes.
Oh yeah, didn't this used to be an insane asylum?
That's right.
Maybe we should tell everyone where we
I
are.
know.
Okay, so we are sitting on top of the Hotel Park Central in beautiful Albuquerque, New Mexico, our hometown, and it's very beautiful, but also extremely haunted, according to the legends.
That's what they say.
Because is it for sure that this used to be an insane asylum?
I'm gonna put a 99% on that.
99%. That's
I think
pretty.
the thing back there was like this. I don't even know.
Yeah.
But somebody told me
Someone told you.
that they have a like where they cremated. I think over there, or is it, I don't know what they did.
Oh, the crematorium.
I think so.
Yes.
On the back side of it.
Yes, absolutely.
so. Now I'm gonna go check it out before I leave, though, and see if it really is.
You totally should. You totally should.
I should know these things. I'm a native.
Native. I feel like we should both know these things. It's green chili, red chili, and the crematorium. Those are all things you should know. Now, I understand that you are a huge fan of quilting.
Yeah, I am.
So when you're not kicking ass inside the cage, you like to make a nice, cozy quilt.
Why not?
I
You
love
know?
it.
And then you can kind of make it how you want. And even then, sometimes, a lot of times I do them for baby blankets or things like that, or for other people. But I don't know. My husband has a bunch of T-shirts from his sorority, so I thought, well, Is it fraternity or sorority?
It's fraternity.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was like, your husband was in a sorority.
Yeah, you're like, that's. I'm like, I think I just said the wrong thing. Anyway, his fraternity, he has all these shirts, but he wouldn't ever throw them away, but he wouldn't use them. But they were just in the drawer, so I made a t-shirt quilt out of them.
There you go.
It's like, use the blanket.
Why not? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So, because it is your birthday and because you love quilting,
all right,
I decided I would get you a
no way,
quilting
I love
book,
it.
little patch rice.
Awesome.
It looks like a lot of really cozy pillows and stuff like that.
And that's one of my favorite. I don't know how to say her name, Calf Facet or Cough Facet. I don't know how to say her name, but a lot of her fabrics are like some of my favorite.
That's
Thank
awesome.
You. This is awesome.
I'm
Thank
so
you
happy
so
to
much.
Of course, yeah. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be using it.
And you said you were training on your birthday.
I went to the gym yesterday. Sparred a little bit, hit some mitts, went for a run, did a little bit of drilling with jiu-jitsu, and then ran some errands, went to the bank.
Nice.
Super fancy.
Super fancy birthday.
I went and checked. I actually ordered a necklace for myself.
Okay.
It's very rare. I just thought, I think I'm going to do something for myself. And so I got myself a necklace and went to go check on that yesterday. And then went home and had a good dinner.
Why not?
My husband brought me home some buffalo burger and side salad.
That's awesome. Ooh, buffalo burger on the birthday.
Love it.
Can't be mad at that.
No.
Not at all. Who are you mainly sparring with these days?
Our gym's so full of everybody that a lot of different styles and different talents, and so there's a lot that I spar with. There's people that I've been sparring with for literally 10 years, like John Dodson, and then there's some like
the magician.
Exactly. And some of the guys there today for the press conference we just came from, which we're Jackson Wink press conference for those of you who are listening. Where a lot of teammates are going to be fighting December 1st.
December 1st, Fresquez Promotions.
Yep, exactly. So we're a lot of the team that's there have helped me prepare for my fights. Chris Brown's on there. Damasio, I've sparred with him for years.
Damasio Page.
Yep. There's a lot of local.
Tough 25, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's so tough, and he hits as hard as heck for his size too. He hits hard. Period.
That's always what
and
they
then
say.
For his size, that's
even more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brick hands.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You got a lot of. It's just a killer's row in there. Really, it's the Lion's Den.
Absolutely. I feel very blessed to be able to. Right down the road, you can see it.
Right down the road, you can see it. Yep. We'll point it out. We'll highlight it right here.
Can you see it?
Can you smell the rock? But on that note, I think you have the best fight name in the game, and I might be a little biased, but it's awesome.
Well, thank you.
Every time I hear Bruce Bufferer go, "The Preacher's Daughter," I get tingles in my spine. It's awesome.
Well, you know what? It's one of those things that I tell people. All these different names they wanted to give me. I think at one it started with Hottie. Yeah, I didn't like that.
That's so bad. Yeah,
I didn't like it. It was started on some blog, and then they started using that name, and then they started with H squared, and then they had like Hollywood, and they had all. I couldn't tell you how many different names. And
yeah,
I forget what fight it was that they were like, "So what are you going to be called?" And I'm like, I don't have a nickname. Well, what is your nickname? I don't. Well, then what are we going to call you?
What are we going to call you?
How about Holly Holm?
Yeah.
That's
good for starters. That's good for starters. Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? They're like, well, we're going to make something up. I'm like, you can't just do that because you're like associating me with that. You can't just do that. And they're like, well, I said, fine. You know what? I am a preacher's daughter, so just call me the preacher's daughter.
I think it's badass. It's got a nice ring to it, and it tells who you are.
Yeah.
And the Reebok commercial they did, the Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
How long were you guys shooting for that? If you haven't seen it, go check it out on YouTube right now. It's awesome. That ad campaign is so cool.
A lot of the stuff that they've done for that, I've just like I didn't do a lot of. I'm trying to. a lot of it's just like clips from different fights and things like that. Whatever we do for fight promotion stuff, and but the Reebok, I know which one you're talking about. It's really cool how they put some of this stuff together. So it's crazy how you just go give a few minutes of your time and
they turn it into that.
Yeah.
It's that's another one that gives me tingles because like it really showed the background of like where you guys came from. They use like Ronda's little sister in the promotion.
Yep.
they showed you like falling in love with boxing at 16, like taking the Winklejohn.
Yeah, they did an awesome job with it. It was it's just, you know, kind of over a day. You go out, you kind of film a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, and they put it together with, you know, how they cut and edit it and put the music and put the story together. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Now, you have your blue belt, right, in jiu-jitsu now?
Yeah, I just got it.
Nice.
So
congratulations. Another high fives in order.
All right,
boom.
Let's
That's why I wore this, by the way.
All right.
I had to, it was between
blue belt.
It was between I was like, I was going to wear a white one, and then I was like, oh, but she had the blue belt. You know, I had to put on the blue suit.
Yeah.
I had to.
Yeah, I've been training with them for a while, and obviously it's a little different, like MMA training we've been doing for a long time, but as far as like the gi training and just, you know, strict jiu-jitsu, kind of going to the classes there and stuff like that. So that just kind of recently got, you know, a promotion. I mean, it's crazy how I mean, there's like John Jones just got his blue belt, and it's like, but he's tapped out, like, you know, big fights.
Right, yeah.
So,
the belt doesn't mean much because, I mean, you know, they keep saying Demetrius Johnson is a white belt, but I mean, he's doing all this crazy.
Yeah. A lot of it's just different. And what I do love about our gym is that, and most gyms, it's like, well, in order to be here and gain your time and respect and, you know, knowledge here, it needs to be this, you know, in our gym. And it's kind of, if somebody was to come as a black belt from another gym but come in and spar, it's like you're not going to be, you know, at the top right away. You kind of spend your time in the gym, and so I like that. I like to have the goal. It's like, well, I got my blue. Actually, I didn't want my blue belt for a really long time.
Yeah,
They kept saying you're gonna get promoted. I was like, can I just be a white belt forever? Because I feel like I'll never know enough. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to always stay learning. So.
It's endless. You know, the Romans had a saying for it. It was vita brevis ars longus. So it's like the life is so short, the craft so long to learn. And so you have guys who are, you know, coral belts who still are learning things.
Yep.
Like they've been training for countless
years.
Just decades. Exactly. And then they're like learning new stuff.
Yep,
like
absolutely.
Just amazing. I was listening to an interview the other day, and he's like, the white belts show me stuff sometimes.
Yep. You know, BJ Penn told me that before. He was at the gym and he was showing kind of from the guard, like a little bit of a pass, and he's like showing everybody. He was like, that's great. And he goes, yeah. You want to know where I learned that from? A white belt.
Oh my God. See, it's crazy. Everyone has something to offer, and that's sort of, that was Bruce Lee's philosophy, and it's something that Conor McGregor has also adopted is, you know, learn what is useful and discard what is not.
That's right.
And you can learn useful things from anyone, really.
Yeah, and I think also that there might be stuff that you might learn and don't apply or really get it until later, you know.
Right.
And I've learned that through some of the stuff that I've been taught before. It's like now I actually see those things while I'm grappling when I never really saw them before, you know. Maybe it's something that I learned but didn't really apply to what I was doing, and maybe it comes into play later, you know.
Right.
So I think sometimes that can happen too. So as much as people might feel, I don't know, I felt like this when I first started grappling, like, gosh, I don't even know what my goal is. My whole goal is just not to get tapped out.
Yes, it's a good goal to have.
I mean, that was it. And now it's like, oh, wait, I kind of want to do something too.
Yes.
You know? So
absolutely.
It's one of those things, the more you learn, the more exciting it gets, and the more you realize you don't even know that much. It just is.
It's endless.
You know, yep.
Endless. Just it expands infinitely. It's crazy.
Yep.
I mean, we had we're starting a jiu-jitsu class at the gym that I'm at right now, the Olympic Athletic Club, and you just have white belts in there who are doing, you know, they do one thing, and you're like, wait a minute, hold on, that hurt. What was that?
Yeah.
Like, did you mean to do that? No. Oh, well, do it again.
Yeah, show me again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have actually one of our coaches, Barata, is Rafael Freitas. He's invented the...
Nailed the accent, by the way.
You like that?
Nailed it. Nailed it.
He's the one that invented the Barata Plata, and a lot of people, they were actually at the gym the other night. Hey, I've kind of been playing around with it. I've been kind of getting some submissions with it, and then they started kind of messing around with it. You know, it's kind of fun. I even like to watch and learn. So
anything that ends in a plata, if you can pull that off,
pretty good.
Instantly earn my respect in there.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have a favorite submission? Like, are you falling in love with the ground game more and more? Or have you always really enjoyed jiu-jitsu?
You know, I always enjoyed any of it because it's a combat, and it's just competitive, you know.
Right.
You and someone else, your best and their best, and just kind of, you know,
Yeah.
learn and go. And of course I don't want to get submitted, and of course I want to submit you. That's just kind of how it is.
Of course.
And so I do love that about it. But the more that I learn, yes, the more I even, my love for it even grows more and more and more. So yes, I've always enjoyed it, but I definitely enjoy it even more now.
Right.
And I'm sure that will keep getting even more deep. I think that I'll really just keep falling in love with it. And as far as a favorite submission, gosh, I think any submission I get is just my favorite.
I like that answer. Whichever one I just pulled off. Yeah. Because I'm a big fan of the guillotine, but that's just because the guy I trains with loves double legs. So I'm just every time I could, time I could get him, I like to do that. Yeah. But he's also, his neck is like a tree trunk.
Hard to get it.
Yeah. So when he was a kid, he actually was at the original Jackson Wink location.
Awesome.
He has a bunch of memories with John the Magician Dodson and GSP back when he was still there.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah, he said,
yep.
"What is on your T-shirt?" And, and he was wearing the Hulk, and he's like, "That is the best superhero." and he just never forgot that. Like, that's that one little.
And it's neat that things like that can stick with people forever.
Yeah.
I feel like, and GSP was always really kind of social like that, and always kind of lighthearted. And probably one of my favorite persons. I like to sit and listen to his stories.
Yeah,
he's pretty entertaining.
He's such a cool guy.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
He's so nice. Do you have a prediction for? I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but do you have a prediction for the GSP Bisping fight?
I feel like that's one of those wild cards. People come back from a time off and they're refreshed and they show everybody what they got. And
it's true.
Sometimes people come back and it's like, they don't feel like they used to. But with GSP, I don't think he would. He's always been a very serious fighter, very dedicated fighter, very disciplined fighter, and so I don't imagine him coming back and not being into it. I think he's going to come back and do well, but it's not like he's coming back for an easy fight either, So,
no, Bisping's
he's a tough
dude.
Guy. I hope that GSP comes back and
me too.
Shows a great performance, and I think he will.
Absolutely, yeah. GSP was one of my original heroes. I actually my grandfather used to take me to boxing fights back when he was strictly a boxer, out there at the Santa Ana Star Casino, Route 66, and I just remember the energy in that environment that was addicting. Like you just being a part of that, even as an audience member.
Yeah. Gosh, Santa Ana, that was a while ago, and those were fun. All my fights at Santa Ana were pretty fun fights in that venue. The ones there, I've had. At the Santa Ana Star Center was when I fought with Bellator. That was but the actual casino Santa Ana, like the smaller little room. But each side of the ring had bleacher seats. So there was not a bad seat in the entire thing. And it's it wasn't necessarily like a venue for that usually, that kind of stuff, but it was one of the best smaller venues, meaning I want to say 3,000, I think. But,
right.
So it was but everybody could have a good seat and look right onto the ring.
Yeah, that's what I loved about it. And I was there the night where they did the tribute to Johnny Tapia, which was very beautiful. I think that was the first time that your entrance song really struck me. That was when I first realized The Landlord's Walk. That's a great song.
It is great.
Okay, best entrance song in MMA. I'm serious. Look it up. The Landlord's Walk. Crazy good.
My dad and my brother.
Do you have some water, by the way?
I have.
You got yours. Yeah, cool.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going.
My dad and my brother, because I never really picked my walkout song, and my dad and my brother wound up grabbing a CD and coming to the house, and they were like, "Hey, we found your walkout song." And so they played that, and I was like, "I love it, let's do it." And I've been playing that song since they picked it. My very last fight, though, my dad told me, he's like, Holly, I feel like you should change everything up.
Yeah.
Because I had 3 fights that weren't going my way, and I was like, all right, so for my very last fight, actually, I changed it just for my last fight. I don't know if it's going to stick or not or what I'm going to do, but just my last fight, I played a Led Zeppelin song.
Yeah.
And just to change it up. It was a song that my brothers and I grew up listening to in the car on the way to school. We had to commute a half hour.
That's cool.
But The Landlord's Walk has been honestly the only walkout song I've ever picked.
Yeah.
Even the Led Zeppelin one, I gave options.
Yeah.
And I just said, hey, you guys pick whichever one you want. And I'll walk out to it. So
that's awesome. Led Zeppelin's a great song to walk out to. That head kick knockout of Betch was sensational. The way you set it up, the way she was beckoning you on, and it was just every one of your fights is energetic and exciting, but that one felt really special. Yeah.
You know, it was one of those things where we knew she was probably going to want to counter, and she was probably waiting for me to come in, and we knew that over a little bit of time she would start to get frustrated and want to either push the fight or get, you know, and I saw that little bit of frustration when she did that, and I was like, all right, now it's time.
It's over.
And I knew that that's what we were waiting for. You know, let's get her a little frustrated, then she's going to get out of her game, and that's when you can pick your right shots. And sure enough, as soon as she did that, it was like the very next
That's what I love about it. Everyone turns into that little clip, but it's so perfect. You're like, oh, you want some more? Here, check this out. Bam!
Yeah. And my coach literally told me, Holly, she's going to get frustrated. Wait for it. That's when you're going to pick your shots. Pick the right ones. And actually, the kick that, you know, we'd been working on that. It's a little different variation of a roundhouse, but we'd kind of been working on it just to kind of change up the timing and change up a little bit of it, because everybody thinks, oh, she likes to throw her left hit, you know, high kick.
Right. But you hide it well. That's the thing.
I kind of like it. It gives me more pride that you know it's coming,
and you still get hit with it.
Still gonna get you with it.
Yes.
So it keeps me competitive to want to keep doing better at it.
Yeah.
I want it quicker. I want it harder. I want it different angles. I want it, you know, change up the timing a little bit. I want to, you know, I want to make it. There's so much with one kick. It's not going to be the same every single time, and even different opponents or different heights and things like that. You know, there's a lot of different variations. It's not just the same kick every time.
Right. And you mentioned the corner was giving you advice. He was saying she's going to get frustrated. What is it like to have, you know, just these weathered, grizzled veterans? I mean, just even being in the same room as Winklejohn earlier today, I was like,
you feel the same.
I feel like I'm producing estrogen. Yeah. I'm like this guy, you know, this guy grew up on the mean streets. But also like just how calm-headed, you know, in the Rousey fight, you could hear Rousey's corner in disarray, and then the advice that they're hearing in your corner is crystal clear, and they're giving you slight adjustments. It's beautiful to hear.
There's a couple things I always say about our coaches and our team is I like that they just say it how it is, because in a fight it is not time to BS. If I'm not winning that round, tell me.
Yeah.
Because it's not the time to be nice to me. I don't want any bullshit, really.
Right.
I don't. I just be straight up, and that's the only way you're going to get a win. And so, you know, sometimes I'll sit down. There's been times I've been in, you know, even my boxing fights, I'll sit down and be like, that round wasn't very good. It was close.
Right.
Let's not let it be that close.
Right.
Like, okay. Not, oh, no, it's fine, you know. And then another thing that I think creates a very good corner is ones that actually communicate with you, not, all right, I need you to let your hands go.
Yeah.
So you want like jabs, you want straight punches, you want hooks, you want like fakes and what do you want?
Yeah.
You know, what do I need to do? So a lot of times when I say, I need you to let your hands go, it's like, tell me what combo, and then I can, because when it's in there, it's easier to be like, okay, let's look for this.
Right.
Because if you throw that and you land it, the other stuff's going to flow with it. You know, the other stuff comes second nature. But if you kind of hit a wall, it's nice to have a coach just tell you very straight, hey,
of course,
let's throw this.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think that was definitely the trap. I think that Edmund fell into, like, you're like, don't, like you were saying, don't bullshit me. If I'm losing the round, tell me. But he was saying, you know, oh, beautiful champ, beautiful, another round just like that. And it's like, no, she needs advice, man. You can't tell her to go out there.
Don't blow smoke right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the right time.
Not the right time. Not the right time. But yeah, no, that was just all of your fights that I've had the privilege to watch. Is just the technique behind it, the crispness, the team you have behind you. It's all so cohesive, and it feels like, you know, it's just right. I'm
very blessed to have a good team. There's so much that goes into a fight to be able to perform it, and it's just, there's no way I could do it without a good team.
Right.
You know? They help you prepare. Yes, you have to do it when you get in there. When it comes down to the fight night, it's all you, but it's definitely a lot of work and a lot of people. I tell people all the time, I think it's the most selfish sport you can be in. You have your family that's, you know, being patient with your schedule. You have your friends that are supporting you and scheduling. You know, even my girlfriends, we schedule trips basically around my fighting. It's it's very selfish. It's like, well, when are we going to do the next girls trip? It's like, well, let us know when your next fight is, and then we'll,
That's
and
good.
that's just talking about the little things. Then you talk about the hours upon hours that your coaches put in and your team puts in into training, your diet, people that help with everything. And then you've got going to a fight. They take a week out of their life, get on a plane, go over there, and guess what? It could be over in 30 seconds with a knockout. All those hours, it's like, that's why I always say I want to win for me, but I also want to win for them and all the time and the effort that's been put into it. So,
right, and the nerves too. I must imagine, because I've never met you before today. I've always been a really big fan of yours, but like watching you fight, I always promised myself I would never get emotionally invested in a fighter. But when you really like a fighter, it's so hard to not do that. And I can't even imagine that for your family and friends, because I am so nervous when you're in there. I just can't even imagine what it's like for them.
Yeah, it's watching fights is exciting, and then when you watch a fight of somebody then a little piece of you gets in there too, and you get emotionally invested. And but that's also what's really cool about our job is like, if you lose, then everybody else is around you is depressed. So don't get me wrong, that's the sucky part of it. But when you win, you help create that excitement for everybody that's been supporting you and loving you and following you as well. And so there's a lot of ways to look at this. There's a lot of pressure that's carried, but there's so much. There's just so much reward with it as well.
Absolutely. And does that tie into before the Ronda fight? I mean, some of the articles that they were putting out, saying, just really, I mean, I can't imagine being, someone related to you and reading some of these headlines. Like, it's like I feel like the press sometimes, they just really don't realize, that you guys are just trying to make a living at the end of the day, and you're doing what you love and stuff. But some of the stuff, like someone called you a lamb to the slaughter. That was one of the articles I read, and it was just so mind blowing. Like how much. Here you have you've defended boxing titles 17 times. You were the first woman ever named to the New Mexico Hall of Fame. You held titles in 3 different weight classes. You had like all this knob accomplishments, and still they're calling you a lamb to the slaughter. What was the thing that kept you, like, what was the thing that kept you focused during all that time that kind of drowned out all of that crazy white noise?
I think a lot of it was just, I felt I could do it.
Yeah.
And my team was, yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
And when they believe in me, it helps me with my confidence too. And I knew it was going to be a lot of preparation. I knew it was going to be a big mental hurdle.
Right.
But that's why I'm doing it, and
absolutely
nobody else is. I mean,
absolutely.
It's that's also what makes it so great. If you don't take a risk that big, it doesn't feel as good when you win. So
that is a great point. That's gonna make an excellent little sound clip, by the way. The other thing I wanted to ask you about is just, I mean, every fighter at the conference today was just talking about, this is not a gym, this is a family.
Yep.
We take care of each other. And you really get that feeling. I was in there, you typing away on the laptop, but I was just like, oh wow, this is, it's cool. You feel it, like.
Yeah, they really are. You share a passion, number one, so you kind of understand each other on a whole different level. And then, another thing too is that you go through a lot in the gym together. We spend hours together, and not just like a regular office where it's like, you might be at your own computer doing your own, work, and then somebody else is doing their work next to you. This is like work that you do together. You share a lot of time, and you invest a lot of time in each other. And so there's just a different kind of bond that we have there, when you go through a lot of these things together. And when you help someone prepare for a fight, gosh, when they get in there, a little bit of you gets in there too, And I feel this weekend, we have 5 teammates fighting in Poland, and it's like,
wow,
5. Am I supposed to get on a plane and go to Poland? Yeah. Like, is that what this is telling me? And one of them is Jody, which I've known her since she was 14.
Jody Escobar.
Yes. Okay. 19. She was 14 when she first started.
Wow.
So I've known her 17
So
years.
sisters
That's
in
crazy.
arms, very
Yeah,
much so.
Absolutely. So it kind of feels weird that I'm not over there. This is a really big fight for her as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
I am there actually.
Yeah.
Physically here, emotionally there.
Exactly. you know when she's walking in there, like you said, she's carrying a piece of you in there with her.
I hope she does.
Yeah.
All the good. Leave all the bad. Anything good that I could give you, take that.
It reminded me of there's a really great old bare knuckle boxing documentary called Knuckle. And he said, he's about to go fight this other guy, and his kid, he draws his name on his left hand, and he draws his little brother's name on his dad's right hand. And he's like, if you're ever getting tired in there, give him one of me and two of Georgie.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that.
And it is. And different fights have different thoughts sometimes. I mean, every fighter's different. We all grab our motivation from a lot of different things. And I remember one of the times, like, purely my motivation for this fight was...
Nice catch.
Your
reflex is still on
I know,
point.
right?
Look at that.
So one of the families that we grew up with, their son is Down syndrome. He's older than us, but we considered him our friend all growing up. And I know that he had asked to go to my fight a couple times, and his parents weren't really sure. And then they decided to just, why not let him go to the fight? And then my dad came in the back. We grew up with him in the church, and he's like, Randy's here. And I was like, okay, well, I definitely can't lose if Randy's here.
Right, right.
I don't want this to be about, I want him to have excitement. I want him, and really, all the training and everything, that night, it was like, I have to win because Randy's here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
he started going to my fight, every fight after that, locally. He was at every fight after that. So
that's really
for years,
cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's kind of for me. That's what represents Albuquerque. I was born and raised here, and I mean, just to meet the friendliest people and the connections that you forge here. Was that something that caused you to stay here? Because I know there's a lot of fighters that switch camps to just try and acquire different skills. Obviously, there's a huge fallout between TJ Dillashaw because of switching camps. What was it that kind of made you want to stay here in Albuquerque? Was this sort of your North Star?
A lot of people from all over the world come to this gym, and I just happened to be here the whole time. I thought, why would I leave this great gym?
Right.
People come from all over to come here, and the best coaches in the world. I've been with Mr. Winklejohn since I started. And why change it?
Yeah.
And I think even in boxing, because I had done amateur kickboxing fights and never really any boxing until my first pro fight was my first boxing fight.
Right.
And Mr. Winklejohn, going into that fight, he had boxed before as well as professionally and kickboxing professionally. And I remember after a few fights when I started to create a little bit of a name for myself and move forward, I think probably one of the things that I was ever asked in an interview that actually was probably made me the most mad, still to this day, this is probably the one question that made me more mad than anything, was after a fight I had just beat a local girl that she had fought in Golden Gloves and had a ton of amateur experience in boxing, and I had only had I think 5 boxing fights, and she had gone to Big Bear and to go train with Mayweather and all the coaches out there, and they in the press I dominated the fight, and in the press conference after they were like, have you ever thought about getting a real boxing coach?
What?
I about lost my mind.
Yeah, come on.
And it's like,
oh my God.
You can say anything about me, and it's one of those things that it was like, I guess I really didn't have to say much because I've been with him the whole time, and look.
Yeah.
I did my entire boxing career out of a mixed martial arts gym.
It's amazing.
So,
it's really.
I think a lot of people don't realize mixed martial arts. We do all of it, including boxing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that McGregor alluded to. He said, this is because they were questioning him about his boxing, and he's like, that's a huge aspect of the game.
Absolutely.
That's where I started is boxing. Did you think that? Did you have an opinion about that fight? Did you think it was stopped early, or coming from a boxing background? What was your opinion of the fight?
I think the ref probably stopped it a little early. However, it was going to be stopped.
Right.
I think one of the biggest things is you didn't see McGregor really complaining about it being stopped either, because he knew, and
Yeah, he said good job to the ref.
Yeah, you know, he knew it was time, and so it's one of those things. It's like, is that moment that it, you know, it was a fair stoppage. Could you let it go a little further, see if he's gonna get knocked out, see if he's gonna, you know,
right?
You could let it go a little further, but I guess it just depends how you look at it.
Absolutely.
I think the fight was over, so it was definitely a fair stoppage.
Yeah, absolutely. And are you in the camp that sort of thinks that he is bad for the sport, or are you more on the opinion that he's sort of inspirational and you can kind of like, you can sort of take elements of what he's done and apply it to your own?
You know what? I think he's good for the sport. I think he brings a whole different energy. I think he brings a curiosity. He brings people with him that love him or hate him. And how can you not be into that? I'm sorry. Some people that say he's not good for the sport, or some people say they don't like that kind of thing, you know, let's be real. There's a lot of respect involved in the sport, and you see even after that fight with him and Mayweather, with how much, you know, crap that was talked before, they're like, hey, good job, we got a lot of respect for you. You know, that's how it always is.
Yeah.
There's a huge respect in this, but also, guess what? It's a fight.
It's a fight at the end of the day. We're punching each other in the face.
So guess what?
Trying to knock your head off.
You got to have emotion. You have to have passion. You have to have, you know, a competitive spirit in order to even be doing this as your job.
Of course.
And honestly, everybody has a little bit of a fighter in them. I don't care what it is. If you're at any job, you still want to be doing your job better than everybody else around you, or you should.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
Want
you should.
that.
You should. Yeah.
You should want victory. You should want success. You should want to do well with yourself.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? So everybody has a little bit of a fight in them.
Yeah.
A little bit of a fighter in them. A little bit of a fighting spirit. And so, you know, and then you get somebody that comes in and kind of like, the things that everybody else probably feels and thinks in their own head are the things that, you know, McGregor says out loud.
Yes.
Actually, even more creative.
Yes, yes.
Some of the stuff he says, I'm like, that was really creative.
I know.
That was really creative.
I noticed when it was, I forget which press conference it was, but like he was just talking a bunch of smack, and then you could kind of see you just smirking and kind of like laughing a little bit. He's so creative with his words, with the way he like wages mental warfare. And I noticed he said during the, was it 196? He said it was an honor to have you on the card because you have Irish blood, and he was really, really proud to fight alongside you.
I do have Irish blood, and I'm very proud of it. I tell people all the time I'm very proud to be American because I'm very American, and I'm very proud of my heritage and my blood, which is very Irish.
Yeah.
And so
you're warriors by blood right.
That's right.
Yeah, I think he said, you know, my ancestors were doing it on a horse with an axe. I'm doing it in the octagon with leather gloves.
Yeah, you know, and I feel like one thing about a couple things I think that McGregor brings to the sport is he takes on any competition. He doesn't just talk it; he walks it. And I think at first when people are like, "Oh, he's full of hot air," it's like, well, then he started, you know, having these victories, and it's kind of one of those things where, you know, he really believed in himself, and I think that was a huge thing to just kind of see that, you know. So he's definitely brought attention to the sport, to all, both MMA and boxing, obviously, because there's been so much attention on the boxing fight they had as well, and so you know, I think that how can that not be good for the sport? Yeah,
absolutely, I agree. And that was one of the things that irked me about Jermaine Duran to me was, you know, McGregor's very much anywhere, any weight, anytime. You know, after the Nate Diaz loss, a lot of people would have been like, okay, now you have to come to 155. He called Dana the next day and said, the same weight, I'm gonna run it. We're gonna run it back, the same exact conditions, and I'm gonna win this time. And he did it. Whereas Jermaine wins, and she's like, "Oh, I'm the greatest. You know, I won the 145." And they're like, "Oh, hey, Cyborg's calling. My hand hurts. My hand hurts. Yeah, I gotta go, guys." Yeah, it's like, that's shameful. That is shameful, man.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of mental game going on with a lot of the, you know, every fight and every training camp and every fighter has something going on in their head, you know. So it's kind of crazy. Every fight, everything has to kind of line up and land all in place at the same time in order to be successful with it. So it's kind of a crazy thing.
It is. Robin Black put it best. He said, you know, a fight is just well, Joe Rogan says it's obviously mental problem solving with dire physical consequences, and then Robin Black said, you know, every single memory, every single dream, every single aspiration you have, you're carrying into the cage with you, and it's changing with every moment, with every strike, with every transition. All of those things are melding between you and your opponent, and that was such a crazy way of putting it, and he put it much more eloquently than I just did.
It is. It's awesome, and it's like. You can look at it in a lot of different ways. You can look at it as pure battle. You can look at it as a song and a dance. You can look at it as a chess match. You can look at it as something spiritual, something emotional. And it's like really, it's just all of those things.
Absolutely. And that's what's so beautiful is this person who you're engaged in this deadly dance with. At the end, you know, there's always respect. After you knocked out Ronda, you kneeled by her too. And I think that gained you a lot of fans, you know, because you kneeled down to make sure she was okay.
Yeah.
And
I don't ever really want someone to walk away hurt. No. I do want to knock them out, and I do want to win, and it feels good to punch someone in the face. It feels good because that's the name of the game.
It's the name of the game, baby.
And if it wasn't me doing it, they would. If it was up to them, it would be them doing it.
Yes.
So no, there's no kindness or softness at the time in there. But as soon as it's over, no, you know what? We just both shared a passion and a dream, and we just did this together, and I have a lot of respect for everybody that I've been in there with.
That's awesome. That's really good to hear, and I think that's why I think you're good for the sport. The reasons that I love you as a fighter are the exact opposite reasons that I love McGregor, because you're so humble and you're so nice and you're so...
I guess you have to have every type of fighter. If they were all the same, then it would get boring watching the same fighter all the time.
Exactly, absolutely. Is it crazy to sometimes walk around, you know, seeing a mural of yourself on the wall and stuff like that, or...
You know, Albuquerque's, it's kind of been this growing thing. You know, a lot of people have always been supporting and watching, and so I think it's, you know, it's just, it's a blessing to be here and be supported by the people here. You know, I'm definitely, I couldn't be in a better place.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess over time, like, things will happen. I do think back, and I think, gosh, this is kind of a crazy career I've had. I look at this place, and you know, I think one of the biggest times I was really touched was the parade we had here.
Yes.
After I had the
After
title,
you won the strap.
it was just like, gosh, I couldn't even. I can't even put those kind of feelings into words. It was kind of one of those. I actually told my manager, I was like, I don't really know if I want a parade, like.
Did you change your mind once you saw the...
Well, I never wanted it.
Right.
But not because I didn't care about the people, but because I didn't feel deserving. It's like, you guys, like, you supported me. That's why I was even here. Like, there's really not this... I didn't feel like I, you know, deserved this. Like, well, thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you to the city for supporting me, but I didn't really feel like entitled or deserving of a parade. So it was kind of like... Oh man, I don't want, I don't want to be like, hey, look at me, everybody. You know what I mean? That's why I didn't want one. And then when I got there, and it was like, holy cow, look at this energy. And then I got really prideful of it too, because I felt like it was a positive energy between people.
Yeah.
And that's very rare to get sometimes nowadays, of just people really coming together.
Yeah.
And that was one of those moments that's like, wow. First of all, they helped me get to where I'm at, and then I helped bring this pride and energy back here. Kind of came in full circle.
Absolutely. I
can't even put into words how it was. It was just like a lot of different elements with it. It was pretty cool.
That's really cool. And I know, Lenny Fresquez is gonna hate me if I get you out of here late, because you got strength, you got conditioning training. Yeah. So I don't want to keep you away from all those guys, but I did want to ask one last thing before your fight with Nikki Knudsen. I read an article. I don't know if this is true or not, but her roommate attended the fight, and you ended it. She
wrote an article. I read it.
You ended it with a really vicious side kick, and you ended up breaking her ribs. But then you took her out afterwards for a beer. Is that right?
Well, we wound up at the same bar later, and it was like, well, they were actually playing some of the highlights on the TV in there, and they were like, Ned's like, hey, how's it going? You know what I mean? And
oh my god!
But it was like, hey, and she was cool too. You know, it takes two people to be able to kind of hang out like that.
Yeah.
And then we left the bar, and then we went back. I went to the room. I showered, and I thought, I want to go downstairs and get an ice cream. And I went down to the hotel lobby to get an ice cream, and she was down there as well. I was like, well, hi again. It's like, so she was one of those that was just kind of a gamer, like, yeah, I'll give it a go. Let's do it. She was a tough girl.
That's cool. I'm really happy to hear that. And, we'll keep it brief, but just in conclusion, any word on the Cyborg fight? Is there any new developments?
Nothing signed. I'm just kind of waiting to see if they send that contract over. And
it seems like she's just kind of, kind of yapping a lot, just kind of getting. I thought, it was crazy for her to say that, you and Dana White were conspiring to have her tested.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
First of all, he's not even in charge of that. Second of all, I get tested all the time.
Yeah, you're tested in 2016. You were tested 10 times. Now in 2017, you're tested 9 times. That's two more times than her. Or one more time than she's been tested.
Right, and altogether, I think there's been 21 times I've been tested by them.
You and McGregor are on top of the list because I looked it up, and you guys are just like.
Yeah. And it was one of those things that's like, don't even go there acting like I'm not tested or even trying to put any kind of question in people's minds about stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's one thing, as far as you can tell me you're going to knock me out. Guess what? You can say all you want. I already know any fight. I know you want to hit me as hard as you can.
Yeah.
And I know your goal is to knock me out. That's my goal too. That's it's not a big secret.
Right.
That stuff doesn't bother me. You can say whatever you want with that, but don't be trying to create some kind of weird curiosity and speculation over crap that's not even true. So that kind of stuff is too far.
Yeah.
But when you're also fishing that deep and trying to create drama in that kind of way, I think, well, I just kind of feel like I'm pretty set where I am mentally, and a lot of times there's a whole other thing that might be going on mentally to even want to create that kind of stuff. So
absolutely,
I just let myself deal with my own emotions, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you're always very unperturbed. During the crazy Ronda weigh-ins and stuff, you're just Joe was like, "What just happened?" You're like, "I'm just drinking my drink. I don't
rehydrating over here.
I just rehydrate. I don't know what she's doing." But well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
I appreciate it.
I used to write you fan mail all the time, so this is a huge dream come true for me.
You don't have to send fan mail. We can just meet up and have some coffee.
Perfect.
So.
That sounds great. That sounds great. Thank you so much, Holly, for coming on.
Thank you.
The Fighting Pride.
Thank you for my quote book.
Of course, absolutely. The Fighting Pride of Albuquerque, New Mexico. New Mexico's favorite daughter, Holly, the preacher's daughter, home.
Thank you.
I can't do it like Bruce Buffer, but I got to do it my own way.
Well, Bruce Buffer's got his own deal.
The 360?
That's what, yeah.
He worked so hard, he tore his ACL on that.
I know.
Amazing.
That's commitment.
That's commitment.
That's putting it all in there.
That's commitment right there. Oh, I do have, you don't have to take this. Do not, no need to be nice to me at all. But if you do want one of these.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Just the Albuquerque skyline in the background.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love it.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'll let you get to your training session.
Awesome.
Don't want to hold you up anymore. Thanks for fixing my microphones.
Hey, you liked
with the power of your voice.
I think that was here.
Yeah.
I think I had help. Just kidding. Just kidding.
I think you might have. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks so much.